Well, I don't know about you guys, but this is most certainly my favourite film of the year so far. So The Favourite is directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and stars Emma Stone as Abigail, who arrives at a palace in England to work for Queen Anne. However, when she arrives there, she is competing against her cousin, Lady Sarah, to be the Queen's favourite. First off, I'd like to talk about Olivia Colman in this movie as Queen Anne, giving an Oscar-worthy performance here. She is brilliant in this movie. I'm a big fan of Olivia Colman. I've been a big fan of her back, in Peep Show days. I love Olivia Colman. I think she's absolutely brilliant. I think she's so funny. And she's great in this film as Queen Anne. Very over the top, very over-exuberant, but very, very appropriate. And also very, very funny. She's great in this film. And like I say, potentially Oscar-worthy. I'd love to see the Oscars give her a bit of attention. I've seen she has been getting some, award season buzz from other shows, so I'm really hoping that for the Oscars, they do give her some recognition, because Olivia Colman is excellent in this movie. Also, Emma Stone as Abigail is as delightful as always. A very innocent performance from Emma Stone for the most part, and she's very good here too. Obviously, Emma Stone, you don't need to say she's good in a movie. Of course she's good in this movie, and she was absolutely mesmerising. I really enjoyed a lot of her scenes. She was very funny in this movie. Also, we know Emma Stone is very, very funny too, and she gets to put that on full display here in The Favourite. My favourite performance in this movie, though, has to go to Rachel Weisz as Lady Sarah. It's always a treasure when we get to see Rachel Weisz in a film, and she is fantastic in this movie as well. Very, very devilish, and I enjoyed that a lot. She has a lot going on behind her eyes. She is a very duplicitous, very almost evil character at times, and I really enjoyed her performance, and it seemed like Rachel Weisz was having a lot of fun playing this role, which I really appreciate. For me, if I can see an actor on screen having a good time in their role, it reflects a lot better on me, and for me, I could completely see Rachel Weisz just completely relishing in this devilish role, and I thought it was fantastic. Also, I really have to praise the direction in this film. Yorgos Lanthimos did a fantastic job directing this film. It's really well handled. The camera work, it's really sleek and smooth and almost modern in a sense, which is weird given that this film takes place in the 18th century. But seeing that you can actually see the camera work done so well in this movie just makes it that much more captivating and that much better to follow, as the camera work is that well handled by Yorgos Lanthimos. And of course, this film does have an excellent script. Now, while Yorgos Lanthimos didn't write this movie, you can still see elements of his extremely witty humour coming through in this. The script in this movie is so sharp, and it's just really funny at times. This movie is, while it is partly a drama, it is also partly a comedy, and I say it's in more parts a comedy, but not a traditional comedy like, your typical kind of American style film. Instead, this is a lot more focused on more situational humour and dialogue and character interactions, and it's a lot more funny in that way. I think the natural humour that comes out of this movie works really well in its favour. It's because, especially with a movie like this, on paper, especially when you look at it in concept, you wouldn't really expect it to be a funny movie, but when this is as funny as it is, I think it's really impressive. And like I say, I was laughing so much throughout this film. I think there's so good dialogue, especially the interaction between Emma Stone and Joe Alwyn's character. It's really nice to see Joe Alwyn in this movie too, but the interaction between them two is really hilarious. And again, just seeing the competing nature between Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz, and as high as it gets by the end of this film, is fantastic. And even while by the end of the film, especially with Emma Stone's character, when you get to the end of her arc, it does have a bit of a sad undertone to it, the movie still has a really good, plentiful amount of jokes in it that will have you laughing throughout. My only negative with The Favourite is that I feel like it's a bit slow and a bit tedious at times, and I think that mostly comes down to the pacing. I feel like the pacing in this film is a little bit sluggish. It can feel like it's dragging on a bit. I feel like 10 minutes of the movie probably could have been shaved off, and I feel like the movie does drag on a little bit with certain things, but for the most part it's okay, and I think the first half is a lot less suffering of this than the second half, but the pacing is my only negative. It was the only thing that really stood out to me, is sometimes the movie did come across as a little bit tedious, and you were kind of thinking to yourself, yeah, we can move this on a little bit. Overall, I really enjoyed The Favourite. I thought this movie was absolutely outstanding. I loved pretty much all of it. Like I say, really go and watch this movie for the performances. The performances are something to see, and I think all three leading ladies are definitely going to get some Oscar recognition for their roles, because they are all great here. Like I say, Olivia Colman, my personal favourite, I loved her. Emma Stone, and of course Rachel Weisz, who probably gives the best performance in the film. I think they were all excellent in this movie, and even other performances as well. Like Nicholas Holt is really good in this movie, so is Joe Alwyn, like I mentioned. It's nice to see him in this film. And I just thought this movie was really well shot, really well written, and really well directed by Yorgos Lanthimos, and I just really really enjoyed all the elements. Even though the pacing was a little bit sluggish, I still am willing to look past that given the fact that this movie gives a great experience at the film. So did you guys see The Favourite? If you did, make sure you tell me all your thoughts about it in the comment section down below. Did you like it? Did you hate it? Let's have a conversation about this movie in the comment section down below. And as always guys, if you want to see more movie reviews from me, be sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you guys again in my next video.